Hello, I am Vincent van Gogh. Would you like to paint with me today? Ah, yes.
All right, guys, look at that. We got Vincent van Gogh here painting with us today. These are my little Funko Pop guys. That is really, really cool. Who knows what Vincent van Gogh is most famous for? It shows right on the back of his little Funko Pop, the Starry Night. So we are going to do a little Christmas Starry Night. He's excited for Christmas. I'm excited for Christmas coming up. So I'm going to do a little tweak on Starry Night. You can definitely use any other supplies that you have. I mean, Vincent van Gogh is famous for painting, so you could definitely use any paints. You could use color pastels, oil pastels. I'll show you cool oil pastels at the end of this for my example. But I'm going to start it off with just crayons, and I'm going to actually just use 3 basic colors. So any kind of green, yellow, or blue to start it off. I'll do a couple different variations of this in my class. So this one has a little winter and Christmas feel. The original also has a little bit of a wintry kind of tree feel to it. So I thought I'd tweak it a little bit on here. I've seen a lot of really cool examples out there. So to start this off, I'm actually not even going to use pencil, which I usually do. I'm going to go right onto it because some of the spots are going to be light and I don't want the pencil to show up. So we're going to kind of take this Starry Night and divide it in half. There's definitely a darker side and a lighter side to this. So I'm going to start out with that tree shape, but how I'm going to do that is when you put your hand on the sheet of paper, right about where your thumb right there, right about where your thumb is where our tree or our Christmas tree is going to be. So right about on this side, start with kind of a top part of a triangle. So you can put it up and then down. And then each bottom part will kind of go out and then in, out and then in. And it gets bigger and bigger and bigger as it gets all the way down to the bottom. So it's kind of like a zigzag line. So that starts off this side. So I'm going to switch over to my blue now because there's definitely a lot of blue in this. And I'm going to do kind of a wavy line that separates the ground from the sky. And that would be like our horizon line. So this one would go up and down, and kind of have a wavy line. One wavy line going all the way across. And you can actually add another one. Doesn't have to be the same. Can actually go a little bit more directly over instead of up like that one. That kind of sets up some different planes of the paper because on the bottom here we definitely have a lot of little houses. So that's the next part that I'm going to get to is drawing houses, and especially on this, which I have my big painting of here, Starry Night, and I have that here in my classroom. So we'll take a look at that, but you can see where I got kind of the Christmas tree idea from the little tree or shape or thing that's on this side, but it also has like a wintry feel with all the cool colors in there. There's a lot of little village, little home. It is like a little village in here, but you can definitely see that little church, the steeple. That's definitely one of the parts I want to add on here. But all these little homes, I'm going to start with kind of this shape, and that would be like a parallelogram. So it's going to be like a sideways rectangle or square. So you see a lot of those for the rooftops of the houses. So that's the part we're going to add next. So right on to the bottom, draw about 7 or 8 of those parallelograms that just go over, across, and then stop. So over, across, and stop. Over, across, and stop. Do a bunch of those. All right, so I got those nice and spread out in the bottom. Then I'm just going to give them 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 little legs on each of them. Now again, we don't want to get too detailed because as you can see in Starry Night, there isn't that much detail. It's really an impressionist style, so it really has a lot of quick movements and is almost like a dream or like a fantasy. It has a lot of really action lines in there that we talk about in art a lot of the times, and impressionist style was really famous for that. I do want to add that one church over here, so I'm going to do a little triangle with some lines. And then I'm going to have a steeple on top of there, so a little square, and a steeple that goes really, really tall, and then really, really down on here. So you can kind of connect some of those. Doesn't have to be really realistic. I'm trying to add little parts just to get you kind of the hint of a little village or town in here. And then when we add some of the colors, you'll see a little bit more of that realism kind of pop out. And this one also, for some reason, makes me think of The Grinch That Stole Christmas when they're down in Whoville and kind of that giant Christmas tree above the little town. All the little Who characters gathered around it and the Grinch kind of overlooking from the mountains. So for some reason, that kind of draws me inspiration to Starry Night. You can add some of those little pieces to other buildings too. You can make them kind of go off and over just to kind of fill in some of that empty space. You could even add another one if there's a little empty space, and it starts to turn into almost like a village scene. Now for up at the top, you can still keep your blue. We're going to go on to some of those clouds and kind of motion in the sky. So this one's going to go down and then up, and then it's going to have a little loop. So down, up, and a little loop. And that loop will kind of go back, down, and then another little loop. And then you can go over those a couple times just to kind of get some of that motion and movement going in the sky, because definitely there's a lot of that going in. And then over in this corner, I'm going to take my yellow, and I'm going to show you how to do a quick little moon sun is kind of the little shape that's over here. So it's kind of a circle. So you can do your circle. If you want to go over that a couple times. And then take that circle, and it's almost like you're taking a little slice out of it and making a little smaller C, and that turns into the moon. In there. So it kind of looks like a moon with a sun in there. And then all the little stars that go around have that kind of same similar shape. I'll show you. There's the moon that we just did. And all those little stars that are popping around there, we can just start to put some little kind of circles and little C's all around in here. And I definitely want to make sure that I put one on top of the Christmas tree, almost saying like that's the star on the top of the Christmas tree. All right, so I think we got it set up pretty good. So now is the fun part when you start to fill in all the different colors. Try to pick out all those different colors that are in here that you see. You definitely see some light blue, some dark blue, some yellows thrown in here, some darker yellows, almost like a gold, and then a lighter yellow on the inside. For the bottoms, see all sorts of different colors, even some reds, some yellows for like the little lights. I can also leave some white on it for some snow. So let's have some fun and do that. I'll go through that real quick. You can see already that even though it's fast forward, a lot of my movements are really, really quick and almost putting just like little dashes on here to fill up some of those spaces, which I feel like in the painting, which I have right here, is kind of how Vincent van Gogh did with his paintbrush. Going really, really quick and just getting kind of an impression or an idea of images and things that are in his picture. So let's go through the top now. All right, again, pretty good. I mean, really, for just using the 3 colors that I have already, you can kind of tell that it's a Starry Night picture.
Stop. Let me get into focus here.
Oh, he was just telling me that do not forget to subscribe every week. Mr. Shooty, Mr. Shooty, has new videos coming out every single Saturday, so don't forget to subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. That's the easiest way to get to all those videos. And now let's continue on to our Starry Night. I'm going to do that same technique with the tree, almost to get it looking like some of the branches of a tree or of an evergreen tree or a Christmas tree. Yeah, I have a good start, but now I'm going to keep on adding more and more layers on top of this. This is a really good start, but you know, as I always say, you want to have a good finish, and you don't want to be the first one done. This would be like being the first one done. Let's see if we can be one of the last ones done with this, taking your time. Let's go.
All right, are you ready to see it? Let's see. Voila!
There it is. Thought it turned out really, really good, and I'm even taking my camera off of here just because I got a couple different ones. Of course, I got the real one right here, but I also did an oil pastel one. So I got my oil pastels, all my crayons that I used in there, but the oil pastel one looked really, really cool. Also, I even have one of my old paintings that kind of gave me inspiration for this tree sunset from Starry Night. So as always, I am Mr. Shooty. This is Mr. Shooty's art class. Oh, where's Van Gogh? There's Vincent Van Gogh, and we will talk to you guys later.